MMA Boxing Talk here. I just want to put out a video talking about a article I seen on UFC on Fox. It was about Edson Barbosa calling out Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson is looking to fight in the summer, in July. He doesn't want to wait till September. He doesn't want to wait for Khabib and have to wait for September. Ferguson wants to fight Nate Diaz, but we know Nate Diaz is gonna, he's gonna wait for Conor McGregor. Now, Tony Ferguson, a little while back, put out a tweet: September's too far. I want to fight for my belt in July for someone who ain't scared and who will show up. And then Edson Barbosa, a couple days later, retweeted Tony and said, I'm ready for July, bro. Let's do it again. This division deserves a real champ. Now, of course, with Khabib being out, with Khabib being so unreliable to the UFC, you can't expect the UFC to just wait for Khabib and give him that interim title shot when he comes back after, he fucked up and he screwed the UFC over at UFC 209. Really, Tony should be in the driver's seat. He should be, the number one contender. Now, of course, Conor McGregor, we don't know when he's going to come back. We don't know if he'll ever come back. He's never defended his title yet. There's talks of Floyd Mayweather, and then the other day we have talks now of possibly, rumors of Conor fighting Tyron Woodley. So he would, fight in the UFC, but again, not defend his title. Why not have an interim title so fans can actually, I know the interim title is bullshit, but for instances like this where Conor McGregor doesn't want to defend his title, or like, the middleweight division, Bisping, he's all over the map. He's fighting Dan Henderson, now GSP. He's not defending it against the real contenders. Have an interim title for that. You don't have to have an interim title for every division, but if there's a champion that's not defending his title, whether it's injury or avoiding the top contenders because they're popular and they can get the big money fights, and the UFC's okay with that, then have an interim title. I'm okay with that. Like if Tony would have fought Khabib, the winner would have been the interim title. A lot of people would have saw them as the champ. You got to defend your belt. You have to. It's getting out of control, the UFC. So I have no problem if Tony Ferguson fights Edson Barbosa in July for an interim title. Fuck Khabib. The guy so unreliable, and now that he has Ramadan, why wait for September? Fuck that. So now, of course, you're gonna say, and it makes sense. Tony Ferguson's not gonna want this fight against Barbosa. He already beat him. He already submitted him in 2 rounds. It was a great fight, though. Don't get me wrong. Edson Barbosa put up a great fight. Tony showed his toughness, durability, just walking through Edson's ridiculous shots. Those brutal kicks to the body, to the ribs. Tony Ferguson just ate that up, kept coming, and just put a pace that Barbosa couldn't handle. But that fight was, not the shortest notice, but Edson Barbosa didn't have a full camp. He had four weeks to prepare for Tony. He was, on holidays with his family. When he got the call, he said 4 weeks, let's do it. This time, he'd have 8 months or 8 weeks, 8 to 10 week training camp. He'd be, I don't know if that'll help. I don't know if that would play a factor, but it's definitely something worth looking at. So it sucks for Tony, but what else is he gonna do? He says he wants someone who's willing to show up and who's not scared for July. Well, Barbosa might be that guy. And like I said, I have no problem with it being an interim title because the real champ's not defending his belt. So might as well have someone with a real belt, even though they call it interim, whatever. It is what it is. I just wanted to give my take on that. Let me know what you guys think. Maybe Tony Ferguson will fight, I don't know, the winner of, instead of Barbosa, maybe he'll fight the winner of Eddie Alvarez and Dustin Poirier. I don't know. I don't know. If Poirier can get past, Alvarez, Poirier Ferguson. I mean, it's not that interesting of a fight. The Barbosa rematch would be way better. But once again, is Tony gonna want that rematch? I don't know. But I mean, if Eddie Alvarez beats Dustin Poirier, I wouldn't mind seeing Eddie versus Nate Diaz. Eddie Alvarez versus Tony Ferguson. That'd be an alright fight. But I mean, the fans would definitely be in for a treat if Ferguson Barbosa rematch. That's for sure. Let me know what you guys think though. Hopefully they'll put something together. That's it for this one. If you like the video, subscribe. Check me out on Twitter at MA Boxing Talk 1. Peace.